Hello again, everybody. It is Friday, November the 13th, 2020, and it's time for another episode of AMA Air. Coming up today, we've got Mark Radcliff here to tell us a little bit about Top Gun.
And I'm here to tell you a little bit about Model Aviation Digital, which will be the December issue and then later in print. And I'm also excited to share with you who will be our special guest next week on Model Aviation Live.
And we've got Government Affairs Director Tyler Dobbs here on the show once again to give us some more updates from the world of government affairs. All that and more coming up today on AMA Air. Hello, everybody. Welcome to AMA Air. My name is Matt Ruddick, and hey, if you look over this way, we got another host on the show. I shouldn't say in the studio. We're not in the studio, but he's on the show. Executive editor of Model Aviation magazine, Mr. Jay Smith. Jay, thank you for helping me out this week.
Absolutely. You know, I'm always on around the 15th of the month, and it was exciting to be asked to co-host the show. So I'm excited to take part and go through all the cool, exciting content we have today.
Absolutely. Of course, you're here in the studio. I keep saying in the studio. You're here on the show with some really cool airplanes behind you. Something that you bring every time you're here on the show. But hey, let's jump right into it. We got a lot to talk about. We've got a lot of guests on today's show, and we're going to start off with one. What are you guys ready for that? I'm ready for it. So we've got AMA District 3 Vice President Mark Radcliff joining us to talk about the Top Gun event that just wrapped up. Mark, thank you so much for coming on AMA Air to talk to us.
Hey, everybody. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So Top Gun, for folks that don't know, it's quite honestly probably the largest scale model event in the country, probably if not the world, really. And you got to go compete in it. I got to hear this story from your mouth.
Okay. Well, yes, I had the honor and the privilege of just competing at Top Gun 2020. I have to tell you that I never in my wildest dreams ever thought that I would fly in Top Gun. My background in model aviation has been pattern flying and sport flying and that sort of thing. And a few years ago, I kind of got interested in scale, and I fly in what you might call fun scale, typically an ARF type model, and dress it up a little bit and so forth. Well, I was looking at Facebook one day, and I noticed that Frank Piano, the person that runs Top Gun, invented it. He had a post on there that due to COVID, that the European contestants couldn't come. So he had some openings. As you know, Top Gun is the top scale event in the world, and it's invitation only, and it's the finest scale aircraft and the finest scale pilots in the world. And so when I saw this on Facebook, I thought, well, I've really got a neat airplane here I've been flying, and I don't know if it's a good airplane for that event. It's an ARF, an ARF. It's a Piper Cherokee 140, and it was RC Guys was the manufacturer of the airplane. And so I sent him pictures of the aircraft. I sent my biography and so forth, my background in model aviation. I've been doing this all my life. And he said, we'd love to have you at the event. So I got the invitation. So it's it's an RC Guys quarter scale Piper Cherokee. And one of the reasons I picked this airplane is I fly the full size Piper Cherokee. So I got my private pilot's license in 2014 at age 59. And I thought, man, I've got to have a model, of this aircraft. So a couple of years after I got my license, I thought, RC Guys makes one. I go to buy one, and you can't get them anymore. They're gone. They're out of production. The company was still in business at that time, but I scoured around and finally found one in Canada, and had it shipped in to me, and it sat here at my house for a couple years. I bought it as a retirement present for myself. I retired in 2018 from working every day, so I just got around in 2020 due to COVID. I finally got around to let's get this airplane going. So that's the airplane I flew, a Top Gun. So.
Yeah, that's really, really cool. It's a beautiful airplane, first of all. Just so much cool detail there. So tell me about the class that you participated in.
Okay, there's a lot of different classes there. I participated in what's called Sportsman Propeller, Sport Prop, they call it. They have another class called Pro Prop. They have other classes, Expert, where the the airplane has to be exact detailed and so on and so forth. The class I'm flying in, Sport Prop, is for what we'll call in a lot of contests called sport scale. The airplane, you have to have a picture of a full size aircraft. Doesn't even have to be the exact one that you're modeled after. So just as long as they, like the Piper Cherokee is a very common general aviation aircraft. So yeah, any picture of a Piper Cherokee, and so that qualifies that. You get 25 bonus points for that. And then so it really boils down to pilot ability, because everybody, again, you're not having an exact scale, and you're not static judged. So it boils down to the piloting skills is where you're gonna place. One of the things about this aircraft, as I said, it's an ARF, and I didn't even know that you could fly an ARF at Top Gun. Again, they have these classes called Sport Prop and so forth for that. However, it is the best in the world, and Frank Tiano's he's going to want the best aircraft there. So he's pretty selective, I think. So I felt pretty honored that he picked my aircraft. I took the standard aircraft ARF and dressed it up a bit. I had to put wheel pants on it, so I had to get some fiberglass wheel pants, and I had to modify them a little bit so it would look similar to the full scale, and then obviously paint those. And then I put a high-end set of lights on the aircraft, a company called Unilight, and they're just fabulous lights. I've got the navigation, the red and green navigation light on the tips. It also has the anti-collision, the high-intensity anti-collision lights that, the brightest sunny day, you can see these lights, no problem. They're flicking on and off, just like the full scale. It's got a tail beacon on it. And then when I would come in for landing with the flaps down, there's a little spotlight on the nose, a little landing light. You can see it in that picture, actually, if you look pretty close. Anytime the flaps are down, the light would come on for the landing light. So
I got to say, you mentioned that those lights are highly visible in the daytime. I'm impressed because I'm used to shooting models like this that have these types of lights on them, and I don't usually can rarely tell that those lights are on in the photos. So that really goes to show how bright those lights are.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, they show up right in all these photographs that were taken of this airborne aircraft. I'm amazed that the green and red lights showed up real well.
So, Mark, I've got a question for you.
Sure.
Obviously, when you participate in any type of scale competition, such as Top Gun, the goal is to present the aircraft as realistically as possible. And the fact that you actually fly the full-scale version of this, do you feel that gave you an advantage?
Oh, I definitely do. It's great pride that I fly the airplane, the model, because I fly the full size, and so yeah, I feel like when I get it out there to go, I feel like I'm sitting in it and I'm viewing out the cockpit. And when I take off, I want a nice standard rate of climb takeoff. When I do turns with it, I want it to be realistic. And you're judged on that. So most of your maneuvers are done in the middle of the box, we'll call it, right in front of you. You've got a starting point and an ending point. And however, when you go to the end of that box and you want to turn around for the next maneuver or whatever, you just don't jab the power to it and yank and bank on the airplane. You fly it just like you're sitting in the aircraft, just like, not pulling too many G's and that kind of thing, just the way the full-size aircraft. This model is electric. It's powered by a Rimfire 160 motor. It's got a Castle speed control on it, and it's a 10S battery system, two 5S 5,000 milliamp lipos, and it has way more than enough power. I mean, if you wanted to, and I've never tried it, but it'll go vertical. There's no question in my mind. It'll do loops and rolls, but I've never done that because I'm flying it like the full size. And typically the whole event, when I'm flying at scale, like I'm at 1/2 throttle or below. So you've got to do that the entire flight to make it look real. Actually, it even says it in the judge's rules. The judge should feel like they're in the aircraft. So that's the goal with that. Yep.
So, Mark, you went down and you competed, and you came away with a couple awards. I want you to tell the folks, kind of brag on yourself a little bit, if you don't mind. How'd you fare?
Well, did very, very well. I was very happy. I ended up 3rd place with the in the sport propeller category. There's my my trophy, 3rd place, sport prop. Very happy with that finish. I was. It was extremely competitive. There was over 22, I think, in the class. The airplane that came in 1st and 2nd. The 1st was a Douglas Dauntless model, which was just absolutely gorgeous, huge aircraft. And
oh wow,
yeah, just beautiful. And 2nd place was an AT6, and those two guys tied for 1st place. So they had to use. We flew 4 rounds, and they used the best 3. So then they had to go to a tiebreaker. So and that was the 2nd place aircraft, and I was 3rd, and I was like 0.25 points behind those two guys. So wow. It was just extremely, extremely competitive. So
absolutely.
And I ended up with one other award that I'm really happy with too. This, hopefully you can see this. This is a handcrafted wooden propeller clock given to Top Gun competitors. And there's award during the Saturday night banquet. They awarded this, and I took 2nd place in the best civilian aircraft. So the Piper Cherokee that I was flying was voted.
Oh wow.
Second best civilian aircraft. That's a Falcon propeller. It's like 32-inch with a nice clock in it.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. And 1st place for civilian aircraft was a giant 787 Dreamliner Boeing jet that a guy had there. And, so I felt like, well, that's pretty cool that I even was nudged up against him too. So, real happy with the whole deal. Everything turned out pretty good. It was my first time there. I never dreamt that I'd ever be at this contest, and I think it shows that the event is open. I mean, it's up to Frank Tiano to invite you, and if you've never been there and you're a scale flyer and you feel like I can fly pretty good and I've got an excellent airplane, that you should just send Frank Tiano a note. I'm sure. He will consider all applications. So,
and for those that don't know, the event's in Lakeland, Florida, so you get to go to Florida to fly.
Exactly. Oh yeah, it was fun. That's the first time I think I've ever flown in the state of Florida. It was held in October this year. Normally it's in April, but April of 2020 came and he canceled due to COVID. And then he put the word out there that they're going to have it in October, and because the Europeans couldn't come due to COVID, he would take openings. He would, send your information in. I'd like to see what you got. So that's how I got invited. So, and it's a great experience. I hope to get to go back. So,
absolutely. Well, if you guys want to learn more about Top Gun, you can go to franktiano.com /top-gun. We've got it right there on your screen. Go check it out. They've got the rule book there. Some different rules that they have, a sign up form that you guys can use to contact Frank to hopefully get an invite to Top Gun next year. Mark, thank you so much for coming on the show to talk to us about Top Gun. That was incredibly informative and just really interesting. So thank you so much for doing that.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It was a great experience, and hope to do it again.
Congratulations.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Well, let's switch gears a little bit, Jay. We're going to talk about Drone Safety Week. So Drone Safety Awareness Week, if you guys remembered from last year, Jay, I don't know if you remember this from last year or not.
I do.
It was a week-long event that was really designed to help get recognition and awareness out there for how to enjoy your time in the airspace safely with manned aircraft. It's put on by the FAA, and this year it's taking place it's actually next week, November 16th through the 22nd. You can go to dronesafetyawarenessweek.com to learn more about it. The AMA is actually going to be involved in it this year more than we were last year even. We're going to have some live stream components and some other video pieces of content that we're going to be sharing out for you guys specifically for Drone Safety Awareness Week, covering all sorts of different topics from learning new skills to what I think is going to be the most interesting thing. It's called Passion to Profession, where we're going to actually share with you guys a panel discussion that happened at AMA Expo last year with I think there were 4 different folks who went from as kids building model aircraft and enjoying model aviation. There you see it right there. So from right to left, we got the RC geek Chris Wolf, Mason Hutchison from Stratolaunch, Dan Cray, also from Stratolaunch, and then Red Jensen, who's from the NASA Model Shop. Just 4 of the most incredibly talented individuals you'll ever meet. We're going to be sharing this as part this panel discussion that was actually recorded by RC Roundtable, our friends over there. So thank you guys to them. Thanks them for allowing us to share that as part of Drone Safety Awareness Week. But again, you can go to dronesafetyawarenessweek.com, or if you want to go ahead and get a sneak preview of some of the stuff that we're going to be sharing, you can go to modelaircraft.org/Drone Safety Week and start checking some of that out right now. So
man, it's always exciting to share stories about people who started in the hobby, whether it be free flight, control line, RC, it doesn't matter. And they take that beginning and then they go into a career. I was just talking to a member last week, and he's a Navy fighter pilot. And he said that the interest he had as a kid building model airplanes and flying led him to want to go into aviation as a career. And I said, so if you never flew a model aircraft, do you think you'd be a Navy fighter pilot? And he said, I don't think that's where I'd be right now. And,
it's hard to imagine that seed gets planted otherwise.
Right. And, obviously Hugh Gibson's a great story. He has been a lifelong modeler, and he's been on 5 space shuttle missions. I mean, there's just so many stories. So I think it's great when we can share those stories. And as we look toward the next generation of pilots and engineers and whatnot.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so much cool information I think that's going to be coming out there next week, not just from us, but from everybody else that's involved in National Drone Safety Awareness Week. So be sure to tune in for that. Again, that's November the 16th through the 22nd. Starts on Monday, so check that out. Jay, look, it's we bring you on the show once a month already. To kind of talk about what's coming up in Model Aviation Magazine. What can we expect from the next issue? And funny enough, coincidentally, this is the episode you would have been on anyway.
That's right. That's right.
So I would love to get a preview from you of what folks can expect in their next issue of Model Aviation.
Sure. So the next issue is our December issue, and that's typically available on the 15th for digital subscribers, but we're working to try to get that out by the end of the day today so people can enjoy it a little bit sooner and over the weekend. So, and then obviously print is about 10 or so days behind. So I'll touch on a couple of things that you'll find in this issue, and one of which, since we have the cover up and the cover's on IRCHA, I'll start with IRCHA. So there is obviously an article about the 2020 IRCHA Jamboree that happened at the International Aero Modeling Center here in Muncie, Indiana. And I'm really excited about the story because it was actually written by DiPeri. And for those of you that don't know who he is, firstly, he's one of our helicopter columnists in the magazine. But secondly, he's currently the vice president of IRCHA. So he gives a lot of good insight in the article about what goes on behind the scenes to have an event like IRCHA. And he also, given that we're in a pandemic, he also talks about all the safety measures that were taken and how the IRCHA team worked closely with the AMA, and they wanted to make sure that they followed all guidance and procedures for safety in the state of Indiana. So it's a really good opportunity for us to share an event article, because we obviously haven't had as many events, and to talk about the things that they went through. And the other thing about the article I'll share is that, Tim throughout the event would walk up and down the flight line, and a lot of people thanked him for having the event. With the pandemic going on, they needed an outlet to go fly. And even one family shared that they had a loss in their direct family, and they came and they said, thank you for having this event. We needed something to get away and to have some joy. So I think it's a really interesting article, and I hope everybody takes a look at that. And then the other article that I want to highlight is actually a review article, and it was done by John Barnes, and it actually was done on the Alien Technologies Micro Aquila, which is a small 31.5-inch wingspan glider. And this glider that you're seeing now on the screen, it's not powered, so it's basically flying on lift, but it's a laser cut kit. It's easy to put together and easy to fly. And if you look for another few moments here, you'll see that it does quite well. As long as you have some lift, it's a great flyer.
And that is not powered.
Correct.
Wow.
Other than the radio gear, of course, but it has no motor.
I'll tell you, that would fly really well at our AMA Club of the Month for November, Torrey Pines, the Torrey Pines Gulls.
Absolutely. I've flown at Torrey Pines, and that was a bucket list item for me. And thanks to Sean Spiker at High Tech, he met me there with a sailplane and allowed me to check that off the bucket list. But this airplane would be great, and its size would make it easy to travel with or take with you. So yeah, we're excited to also share that with the readers. Obviously, there's several more feature articles, and there's more columns and whatnot, but I don't want to give it all away. I want to leave a little bit of the excitement when people either view the digital edition or when they get the print edition.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm really interested about that IRCHA article. I didn't know Tim DiPeri was actually writing that article. That's really cool. We had him on the podcast back on episode 5, so it's over a year ago. And what a great guy, what a real champion for helicopter flying. So I'm really excited to read that article. That's awesome.
Well, I also want to talk a little bit about Model Aviation Live, if I may, because the next show is a week from today at 3:00 Eastern Standard Time. So Interestingly enough, I noticed that my guest, who I haven't announced yet, is actually is with us right now in the chat section of this show of AMA Air. He did make a comment earlier, and that would be Joe Vermillion. So I hope a lot of people watching know who Joe is, and great supporter of AMA, and he works with Balsa USA. And I just decided, I need to bring him on my show and find out why they call him Mean Joe, because every time I work with Joe, he's not mean. So that's the key question I want answered. Why is he Mean Joe?
I look forward to getting the answer to that on Model Aviation Live with Jay Smith next Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern. That is Friday, November the 20th. You can go to modelaviation.com/live to watch that. You can watch it live. If you can't watch it live, you can always tune in after the fact and watch it recorded as well. Yeah, Jay, I'm looking forward to that. Joe's a great guy, great friend to the AMA, great friend to the hobby in general. I'm looking forward to that one. That's going to be a good one.
I am too. Always a good time flying with Joe, and like I said, he's been a great help and supporter to AMA. He's traveled many times here to AMA to help with events that we have and help buddy box with, kids and new pilots. So he's definitely a great ambassador to the hobby, and I look forward to talking to him. He's written articles for us around building, and he knows a lot about obviously World War I aircraft. So I'm excited to share that information with the viewers, and everyone can feel free to ask questions, and we'll definitely all come away learning a bit more, I'm sure.
Now, another friend of the show, Greg Gemlick, just chimed in the chat, says that Joe is a birthday boy today.
Well, happy birthday, Joe.
Happy birthday, Joe.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I did not know that.
So he can tell us all the neat stuff he got for his birthday next week.
That's right. Oh, we embarrassed him. That's all right. Well, you guys can look forward to that next week. Again, modelaviation.com/live on Friday, November the 20th at 3 p.m. Oh, he said no, it's on the 11th. So we're a couple days late. Happy belated birthday, Joe. Sorry about that. Let's move on to our favorite part of the show. I know it's my favorite part of the show. I hope it's all of your guys' favorite part of the show as well. It is time for the iFly AMA segment. If you're not familiar with iFly AMA, where you been? Because we talk about it all the time. Facebook.com/groups/iFlyAMA. You can go check that out. Click that join button. Get involved in the community. There's tons of awesome photos, videos, tips, tricks. You name it, we got it on iFly AMA. So all you got to do is go click that join button, answer a couple of questions, and you're good to go. But the best part about it is we get to see the stuff that you guys are doing, the stuff you're producing, the stuff you're building, the stuff you're making. And that's why we like to share that stuff on the show. So all that being said, it's time to share our stories of the week. Jay, I'd love for you to go ahead and give me your story that you picked for this week.
Well, I'm really excited about the story that I'm sharing with the viewers because it's a GeeBee, and I'm a big fan of the GeeBee, and I'm a big fan of the movie Rocketeer, and this one is in the color scheme that you see in the movie Rocketeer. So this was shared by our scale columnist Stan Alexander and via Rick Cawley, and it's just a beautiful example of the GeeBee. And for those that don't know, there's a couple of GeeBees at Fantasy of Flight in Florida, and before I came to AMA, I lived in Florida, so I was fortunate to get to see these up close, the full scale, and I'm really excited to share this one because it's beautifully done, and we've got a flight video, and I definitely think this is a project that's exciting and worth checking out.
I love a good GeeBee. They're just gorgeous little airplanes. I think they're awesome. This one in particular looks really nice. Really clean example. And man, looks like it flies pretty darn well.
Yeah, Jimmy Doolittle flew a GeeBee in an air racer. They were air racer, and so yeah, they are. There's a lot of history behind them and the Granville brothers, and so it's really neat to see this one flying and see what a great job that he did on it. And so I'm excited to share it with everybody because, I come on the show every month and I never get to pick a video or get to pick a post. So I'm glad I got that opportunity today and share this one.
Oh, we're glad we were able to oblige you this time around. Well, awesome pick. I think that's a really cool post there. I've got one for you that it's not quite as big as a GeeBee. It's not quite as fast as a GeeBee. But Bill Kuhl decided to post this in the iFly AMA Facebook group. He is sharing something we don't see a lot of anymore, which is the AMA Cub. Who's familiar with the AMA Cub? Hopefully those of you in the chat are familiar with the AMA Cub. It's really a stick of tissue rubber powered aircraft that was really kind of used for students and Cub Scouts and that sort of thing. But it kind of predates the Alpha by a few years. Let's be honest, by a few years. And he said, I'm doing a Zoom presentation to a school model club on Monday. They're building AMA Cubs. So I thought I should fly one, and it did pretty well, even in a lot of wind. I got to be honest, I don't know if I'd have had the guts to put it out there in that kind of wind, but it sure is holding its own. I'm kind of impressed.
I don't know. Give yourself some credit, Matt. I remember when you flew the Micro Stearman from Horizon Hobby, and it was the first time you ever flew it, and it was a windy day. So you might have.
That was not only was that like the first time I flew it was like the first. Actually, if you guys, let's see, if you look right there, this is hard to do backwards. Right there in our backdrop there, that is my Ultra Micro UMX Stearman. That's the aircraft he's talking about. Yeah, I maidened it, and it was like in 15-mile-an-hour winds. It was a blast.
And you were successful.
I was successful. Yeah, I didn't crash it. It was great. What were we talking about? The AMA Cub. Bill Kuhl, thank you for posting that. Something that's cool about that though, that post that really kind of struck me, past the AMA Cub, was that he was doing a presentation to a school model club. And I think it's so cool that we still have those around and kids are still getting exposed to modeling through school, through these school clubs. Kudos to you, Bill, and to the folks at that school for keeping that alive. I think that's awesome. If you guys want to check out more from the iFlyAMA Facebook group, you can go to facebook.com/groups/iFlyAMA to join today. But we're not quite done with the Facebook group. We have one more thing we got to do because it's that time once again.
Is it the cover?
Yeah, it's time to announce that the cover photo contest is about to reopen once again for the December cover photo. I had to get my word straight there. Sorry, guys. On Monday, we're going to post a post at the top. It's going to be pinned at the top of the iflyama Facebook group. That's where you're going to post your photos and try to see who's going to get the most likes to become the December cover photo for the iflyama Facebook group. The one you're looking at is November's. Such a gorgeous helicopter.
It's a Huey.
It is a Huey. It is absolutely a Huey. It looks great. Great photo. It's going to get replaced on December 1st. We're going to have a new one. We're going to announce it right here on AMA Air on December 1st. So be sure to get your photos posted. Unfortunately, Jay, you and I, we can't win.
That's okay. I mean, take it from a magazine editor. Cover photos are important, and I have to select 12 a year for model aviation and 4 a year for park pilots. So I'm okay with that. I think it's really great that people participate, and it's exciting for us to be able to share their work, much like we do in the magazine and Viewfinder. You know, it's great to be able to share people's work or focal point as well. So I think that's great.
Absolutely. Well, you and I can't win. And if you've already won the cover photo contest, you're ineligible as well. So let's see what kind of cool photos we'll get to see up there for the December cover photo contest. All right. That wraps up iflyama. Let's move on to our last guest of the day. I might as well just call him a regular on the show. I feel like we bring him on every episode because he's always got new information to give us. So please welcome to the show, Tyler Dobbs, AMA Government Affairs Director. Tyler, thank you for joining us on the show today.
Hey, Matt, Jay, thanks for having me. It's been a great show. Congrats to Mark Radcliff. That was a great feat for him and a great experience. So that was
absolutely.
You've got the coolest backdrop, Tyler, of it. Anybody on the show today?
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Somebody's ready for Thanksgiving
today. So.
Well, Tyler, let's jump right into it. So, do we have some new updates to share with our members today?
So we do. As many of your viewers probably remember, we've been talking about Advisory Circular 9157C lately. And the significance there is that we're currently operating under B, 9157B, and that's not complete. It doesn't have a process to recognize community-based organizations, and it doesn't have a process that outlines what the upcoming safety and knowledge test is going to be or how that's going to be administered. And this 9157C will. It will include both of those. That has just been sent to the Office of Management and Budget over the last few days, and that term may be familiar to some of you also. I think in the last couple weeks or maybe a month, we discussed that agency, and it's an agency within the White House that kind of gives final approval for regulatory issues and advisory issues. That's within the White House. It currently also has the remote ID final rule in that agency. So that's why it may sound familiar, because we've been putting that in some of our blogs and discussing it on AMA Air and other places. So in regards to 9157C, we do expect that to come out of the OMB within the next 10 days. It's going to be a shorter process. For remote ID, since that's a final rule and it's much more in depth, that's a 90-day process. For this, while it's significant guidance, it's advisory by nature. It's not regulatory. It's going to have a shorter time that's going to be spent in review. So within the next 10 days, we'll see that come out. We'll see that put to the Federal Register for public comment. That will also likely be a condensed comment period, probably 30 days. It'll take AMA a day or so to review that once it's published, and then we'll be sure to get that information out the door to our members on what that entails. As I mentioned in the past, the safety and knowledge test, I know that a lot of our members and listeners have some concerns there. I want to stress AMA has been a part of that process since the very beginning. When we first started, we discussed it with the FAA and got their ideas on what would be involved there. And they thought the process would be very similar to Part 107 remote pilot certificate test, that it may take a few hours. It may be 60 questions, may pull from the full scale aviation test. That is not the case. AMA and others in the industry worked together and got that to be a condensed test. It's going to be roughly 20 questions. It's going to be multiple choice. It's going to be a guaranteed pass test. As long as you take it and you sit through the entire test, you will pass it. We'll give guidance on training and some of those questions, but it's essentially a can't fail test. If you get an answer wrong, it will advise you that you missed that question and that it will ask you to readdress it. So we're encouraged that the FAA listened to AMA and listened to others in the industry and reduce the amount of time and the difficulty related to that test. In regards to CBO recognition that we think will be outlined in this advisory circular, we're encouraged by that as well. Obviously, AMA, we are the CBO that legislation and others kind of use as the star, the light to shine on there in regards to outlining what requirements would be needed for an organization to be recognized as a community-based organization. So as soon as that process is in place, we'll be submitting our request to be formally recognized. And that gives us more of a seat at the table in upcoming future rulemaking, upcoming regulations. The FAA will now be required to bring in community-based organizations and get their view and their opinion. So all encouraging news. Look for more communications coming out of AMA over the next few days and over the next few weeks in regards to this new advisory circular.
Very cool. So, folks, I can't stress this enough to go to modelaircraft.org/gov. That's going to be the place you go for the most up-to-date information. I think there's some stuff that was just posted maybe today that you can check out later as well. And as this stuff comes down, stay tuned to our YouTube channel, to our social media channels. As soon as we have information to give you, we're going to get that out to you in as many ways as we can. But again, modelaircraft.org/gov is the place to start. Tyler, thank you so much for coming on and kind of giving us the update. Looks like the next week to 2 weeks are going to be the ones to focus on.
They will, and I just encourage our members to look to AMA. As with any release from the FAA, there'll be a lot of outside noise from outside sources, but get your information from AMA, and we'll get it out to you as soon as possible.
Absolutely. Well, Tyler Dobbs, Director of Government Affairs here at the AMA, thank you so much for joining us on the show, and hope you enjoy your weekend, sir.
All right, you guys too. Thanks.
All right.
Thanks, Tyler.
So before we wrap the show up, we want to kind of touch back on something that we talked about last week, which is Amazon Smile. If you guys do any holiday shopping, Jay, I'm sure you do some holiday shopping online. Is that right?
I absolutely do. And I do do some shopping with Amazon. I do have Amazon Prime. So definitely want to be sure to share with everyone to make sure that you're charitably giving, if you choose so, to AMA, to the foundation. And Matt, you're going to tell them a little bit more how they can do that, and especially how they can do that on their mobile device. Is that right?
That's absolutely right. So Amazon Smile, if you are not familiar with it, is a way to donate to your favorite charities through your shopping. It doesn't cost you anything extra, but a percentage of your shopping total goes toward these charities through Amazon. You go to smile.amazon.com to set that up, and you want to search for Academy of Model Aeronautics Foundation. It's important you spell that out, not just AMA Foundation, but Academy of Model Aeronautics Foundation, and set that as your preferred charity to donate to. And part, again, a percentage of your shopping goes directly to the AMA Foundation. But what's extra cool now is that you can set this up on your mobile device, so you don't have to go to that specific smile.amazon.com address. If you shop through your mobile phone and through the app, you can actually set that in your settings. If you go to settings and then to Amazon Smile, you can set it there, and then you don't have to think about it ever again. And we'll be sending all of those percentages to the AMA Foundation. Again, it doesn't cost you a dime, but it benefits a whole host of programs that are supported through the AMA Foundation. So be sure to check that out. But there's more. But wait, there's more. We also have the AMA web store. Brand new AMA web store. If you guys have not checked it out, I encourage you to do that. What's awesome is if you go to shop.modelaircraft.org, check out all the cool stuff we have in there. We got shirts, we got hats, we got all sorts of stuff, anything you could want. They're offering free shipping with no minimum purchase by using the promo code FREESHIP20. Again, that's FREESHIP20. It's right there on your screen. You could go do some holiday shopping for your loved one, for your kids, for for your wife, for your husband, whoever it may be. If they want some AMA gear, we've got it there at shop.modelaircraft.org.
Matt, we even have masks. One of the newest things to the store, we have masks, so you can show your support of AMA while you're masking. So that's definitely right. Another thing to look into.
That's absolutely right. So again, go to shop.modelaircraft.org. Use the code FREESHIP20 for free shipping with no minimum purchase. Such a good deal. So go check that out.
We all like deals, especially this time of year.
Absolutely, I know I do. I like a good coupon, Jay. I like a good coupon.
You clip them?
I clip my coupons, and I use the coupons to save some money.
Right.
But that's all we got. I don't know what's happening, folks, but that's all we got for this week's episode of AMA Air. If you like today's episode, be sure you like, share, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff right down below.
Yeah, and if you're not an AMA member, and I don't know why you wouldn't be, but if you're not, make sure you go to modelaircraft.org/join, because it's very important for you to become a member, and you have a collective voice as we work alongside with the FAA. So if you're not a member, please go to that web address, modelaircraft.org/join. And we'd love to have you as a member. And I'd love to get you model aviation month after month, whether it be digitally or in print. So please take a look at that.
And don't forget, next Friday, November 20th at 3 p.m. Eastern, Model Aviation Live with Jay Smith at modelaviation.com/live. And for all of us here at the AMA, thank you guys so much for watching. Whether you watched it live or you watched it after the fact, thank you for watching. We really appreciate it. Until next time, we'll see you guys later.
Bye.